And hello again, race fans. Welcome in. It's Sunday night here on VirtualRacing.Network, and you know what that means. It's time for the Icon Cup Series. Tonight, Icon begins the playoff journey that we've been alluding to all season long, and now it's finally arrived. We begin here at the famed D-shaped oval at Texas Motor Speedway, 135 laps around. Of course, we've seen so much great action over the season. We've started the playoffs in other series that we cover here on VirtualRacing.Network, and it always seems to bring out the absolute best in everyone. Hello again, everybody. I'm Trevor Greenfield. So great to have you here on VirtualRacing.Network as we get set for an exciting evening of action here in the Icon Cup Series. I'm joined here in the booth, as I always am, by veteran sim racer and team owner in the Icon Cup Series, Christian Snyder. Christian, welcome back here to the broadcast. And what can we expect here tonight, not only from yourself and for here at Texas, but for your team, Full Send Esports?
Well, it's going to be a very bottom dominant track tonight. Texas usually is. The outside doesn't quite have a groove yet. Ever since the redesign of the track, only 4 sets of tires, so these guys are going to be on some old tires for a lot of this race. It's going to be 135 laps. Splitting that up is going to be tough for 4 sets. So these guys are going to struggle. Track position is going to be everything, so qualifying is going to be super important here. So we'll have to see where everybody slots in and gets a good start here for this race tonight.
Going to be nice and cool as the evening weather sets in. Track begins to cool down as that sun sets into the background, but a 14-mile-per-hour breeze, that could play a factor out there. We'll keep an eye on that as always as the cars head out there to qualify. And, of course, some stuff to talk about tonight as well in the driver's points, but we'll get to that here in just a minute and set the field for you. As Jackson Glenn Austin goes to the top of the charts, and as soon as he does that, well, there's Ryan Patty to supplant him. Now seeing some other drivers coming up to speed. Why don't we go ahead and go on board here with Sean Purcell. Christian, why don't you take us around the Texas Motor Speedway?
Yeah, Texas, ever since the redesign, you got to brake pretty hard coming into turn 1. Some people are downshifting here tonight into this corner. To get a good run onto the backstretch here, you always want to run the bottom. But if you get too low and you touch that apron, it's not good. In real life, a lot of people use the apron to get grip, but on here, it's not very forgiving, but it's bottom both sides, and these guys are going to be downshifting to try to get a little bit better momentum out of the corners here.
Well, Sean Purcell puts in his time, only good enough for 7th fastest there. See at the top of the charts, Ryan Patty brings it in, and he was the fastest until this guy just put in an even faster time. One of his championship contending rivals, Nathan Finnegan, and also Brian and Nathan splitting some of the admin duty here in the Icon Cup Series. Welcome once again to everybody over in our YouTube chat. Pleasure to have you. Let us know who you're rooting on. Always love to talk with you during the course of the race. It's back to the cars on track. Ronnie Norman for Harper Motorsports. He's in this championship battle. Just now putting in the 10th fastest time and perhaps try to go a little bit faster here on this one. And Christian, also I'm seeing Brendan Jenks getting in a good time there, going 3rd fastest.
Yeah, Brendan, not a fan of this track, but he got a pretty good lap in qualifying. He told me whenever I talked to him earlier, he was like, don't expect a win here tonight from me. I'm not good here at all.
Usually when drivers say that to us, they do end up finishing quite well. So we'll see how that all works out for him. Tim Harper, so pleased to be in these playoffs here in the Icon Cup Series for Harper Motorsports, and good enough for 12th fastest out there. Probably not the lap that he was looking for. Swing it over to Kyle Gilbert, who is still putting in, and in fact, he's just now coming up to speed here for his lap. Back on board Taking a look as he goes through the corners. Just up to about 170 miles an hour as he begins down the backstretch. They're about 175 miles per hour. Actually gaining speed through the corner. Finally up to about 190 at the end of the first full lap for Kyle Gilbert. Now he'll get in another lap here as he broke down for 1 and 2. He exits 3 and 4 onto that front straightaway, and he'll cross the start-finish line. Gilbert was 9th fastest, or actually he ends up 9th fastest, so a good qualifying effort from him. He'll bring it down to a stop here, and I believe he's going to be our last qualifier, so let's go ahead and take a look real quick here at the points as they line up and get ready to grid up here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Here is the standings as we begin the playoffs here, and apologize to Sean Purcell. We'll make sure we get that updated with the correct number colors to designate that Sean is in fact part of this championship fight. You can see all those drivers there who begin with that even 2000 and 2003 going to Brian Smith as a result of winning all those races. Congratulations to him. Ryan Patty and Cody Neal, Nathan Finnegan, Justin Michael, Ronnie Norman, Adam Ball, Tim Harper, Vincent Loria, Justin Bissonette, Sean Purcell, and Cody Height, all part of this championship fight here. And take a look here. This is going to be our schedule as we go through the weeks here of the playoffs. The round of 12 starts tonight with Texas, 135 laps, and then Talladega, Charlotte, and then we move on to the round of 8, Las Vegas, Homestead, and Dover. And then the final 4 will be, of course, at Phoenix. You won't want to miss any of these, so if you're not already a subscriber, definitely want to be a subscriber. They're getting rolling, so I guess we better be talking about the qualifying order. Here we go. Nathan Finnegan actually ends up taking pole position. Congratulations to him. So he gets rolling underway here. Alongside will be Ryan Patty. And starting on the second row, Brendan Jenks and Ronnie Norman. That third row will have Sean Purcell and Jackson Glenn Austin. Fourth row, Vincent Loria and Jacob Vladelich. Fifth row will go to Kyle Gilbert and Mike Jennings. The sixth row, Anthony Campbell, fan favorite in our YouTube chat room, and Justin Michael. Next row will be Tim Harper and Dalton Williamson. The next row, starting in 15th, will be Kevin Gunther and Kyle Purcell. Then Cody Neal and Scott Patton. Justin Bissonette and Brad Delph. Stephen Tuck and Hanover Fist will be your final runner here tonight.
Pretty good field here for Texas, and a lot of these playoff drivers up toward the front. You see Finnegan, Patty, and Norman in the best position that they can for the start of this one. Let's see what we have tonight. Who do you think's going to win? Put your comments in the chat. Oh man, I'm excited. This is Texas at its finest here.
I am too. We've seen some of these drivers go at it over the course of this season, but now we get to really see the gloves come off. We're underway here at Texas Motor Speedway. Ryan Patty very quickly to the outside. Is he going to be able to hold it through turn number 1 and 2, or will Finnegan move back ahead on the low line? Some more movement further back. There's Ronnie Norman and Vincent Loria fighting it out.
And Patty able to make that outside work for now, but going into this corner, he's really high up there. There's not much grip up there. Oh, close between the two. He's going to take the lead off of Nathan Finnegan, and he's going to lead lap 1.
Well, quite a good move from him to be able to do that on the first lap. We don't see that at most of the tracks, but Patty able to get it done and move ahead. That being said, look at all this action a little bit further back. There's Sean Purcell now getting ahead and moving ahead of Ronnie Norman. So he's moved up into 4th place. There's Ronnie Norman and Vincent Loria now battling for position. Loria drops back a little bit. Kyle Gilbert now moves up into the position. We're going to make this 3 wide through the corner. Vincent Loria out wide there.
Yeah, years past, that's been a no-no zone. You get pulled up into the wall whenever you get that high, but looking okay for tonight so far. But maybe once these tires wear off, that outside is not going to work like that. But these guys are single file now, 4 laps into this race, and they're more than likely all going to use the bottom throughout the entire night. The only time you can use that outside, this lane right here that Vincent's trying, is on restarts to maximize the restarts and get as many positions as possible.
Well, Patty doing what he needs to do right now, taking a look back. Finnegan falls into line. Brendan Jenks, no problem in 3rd place. Sean Purcell hanging on now to that 4th place. Ronnie Norman in 5th, and we've heard it goes about 15 laps on a set of tires, and it will be the heaviest here in this very first stage. But it goes about 15 laps until these tires really start to show their wear here. So we'll want to watch for that. A lot of drivers going to try to make these moves here in the early going before those handling issues become present.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a handling issue all night. With only 4 sets of tires and the tires falling off at about 15 laps, you're going to want them every pit stop that you can, but sometimes you're going to have to use strategy and save a set of tires for the end of the race in case the caution comes out, because that's the most crucial thing. If a caution comes out, 10 to go, and you have a set of tires, you put them on, it's like you're 10 miles per hour faster than the rest of the field. It feels so good.
Indeed, new shoes and an easy breeze down the boulevard for these drivers to take on those new tires, but they quickly give up that advantage at some point. Ronnie Norman now side by side with Jackson Glenn Austin. Kyle Gilbert now also trying to take that position on the outside. This is for 6th place on the track. As now, actually for 7th, as now Ronnie Norman drifts back into 8th. So
yeah, this is typical of what we see from Ronnie Norman in the beginning of the race. He just runs it nice and easy, saves his tires at the beginning of the run. So we typically see him almost fall to outside the top 10. But then by the end of the stage, he's coming back through the field. And someone who's coming through the field, Justin Michael, I believe he started in the rear due to a penalty, and he's already up into the top 10.
Well, he's right now in the top 10 into 9th place. Now move him up into 8th place as he goes sailing on by Kyle Gilbert. Or does he? I guess he doesn't. He's now going to race side by side with Gilbert off the corner. Down the backstretch they go.
Yeah, outside's working a little better than I predicted. These guys are able to make it work. Texas did a great job. Oh, no, trouble.
Justin Michael gets loose in the middle of the corner, slides up the track. And we have... Are we under... We're not under caution yet. We stay green, but Gladelich went off track. I've got a few different cars having issues here. Gladelich tonight racing for Full Send Esports. And I see Kyle Gilbert, Justin Bissonette, all these drivers having problems. Let's go ahead and take a look what happened here. This is watching from Gladelich's point. Well, actually, let's go ahead and go overhead and see if we can get that chopper cam that always seems to tell the tale pretty well. This is what Gladelich saw.
Yeah, I think he had some issues coming back onto the track after avoiding this wreck. He sees it happening. He's going to turn low right here, go through the grass. And that's like ice. You can see he's sliding right, left, sliding. And then as soon as it gets off the grass, it hooks right. He gets on the brakes, locks him up, but nothing he can do there. And everyone kind of piles in.
Bissonette and Gilbert unfortunately find their way into that mess. Let's see if we go back and take a look at Kyle Gilbert and see what he saw from overhead. Just going through the corner. Just gets put into the wall, and unfortunately, I think the steering might be a little bent on that machine. And if it wasn't before, then it is at that point. Justin Bissonnette tonight for Collar City Racing. Had something decent going to start this one out. Saw Gilbert, but maybe didn't see that car. As a result, some big damage early on for some of these drivers.
Nothing Justin could have done there with Jacob hitting that bump that's right at the end of the grass. It unsettled his car and hooked it right. And he tried everything he could with the brakes and still came up on track. It's unfortunate for Justin Bissonnette. He's one of the playoff guys, so early trouble for Bissonnette.
So we're under our first caution here for multi-car collision happening on about lap number 9. And unfortunately, it collected several drivers that were working their way through the field. However, Ryan Patty is pretty much the star so far in this opening stage. He took over the lead from Nathan Finnegan and was holding on until that caution came out. You had several drivers that had come forward. Anthony Campbell now up into 8th. He's up 3 positions. Justin Michael, Tim Harper. Cody Neal up 6 positions now into 11th place. Brad Delph, Stephen Tuck, and Hanover Fist up 7 spots as well. So some drivers making some moves early on. Interesting to see. Vincent Loria has had a very difficult couple of races, but right now he's finding a little bit of success, up a couple of spots as well.
Tell you what, I'm going to be interested to see if the outside's going to work as well as it did on the initial start, because these guys are on, I think, 12, maybe 11 lap tires. A couple of them were under caution. So I don't know if the outside's going to work as well as it did on the initial start, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Dalton Williamson, Kyle Purcell, Scott Patton, Kevin Gunther, all these drivers getting their tires. And I do also see that Kyle Gilbert has managed to get back out there, so it's good news for all of the Kyle Gilbert fans in the crowd. About to get going here once again, round number 1 of the playoffs for the Icon Cup Series. And Jacob Gladelich saying that was not a good first race, and certainly, my friend, it is understood. We're back underway here and ready to go for more green flag racing. Ryan Patty with a big jump, and now Brendan Jenks going to try to take that second spot away from Nathan Finnegan, and it looks like he's got the inside line. He may be able to do just that. Sean Purcell also looking to do the same thing on the outside to Vincent Loria. And so far, neither one able to clear, but it looks like Finnegan going to get that position back now from Brendan Jenks. And side by side, they still race for 4th and 5th position between Purcell and Loria.
And so far, the outside is working on this restart. Purcell able to hold off Vincent Loria. He's just got to be careful on exit here. I think he's going to clear him, and he does. Another 2-wide battle there. Ronnie Norman, and I believe that's Jackson Glenn Austin there. Oh, trouble. Anthony Campbell through the grass.
Campbell sliding through the grass. Try to get a camera on it there. He does manage to rejoin the number 73. Brings it back on track, but he's lost a lot of positions back into 17th place.
Yeah, he was around that area where Norman, Michael, and Glenn Austin were. And I believe I saw Norman get loose coming out of 4 and it just kind of caused everyone to scatter. You'll see he tags the apron right there, gets loose right in front of Jackson Glenn Austin, and then teammate Tim Harper punts Anthony Campbell there and sends him through the grass. But man, great job controlling that car and able to get back in there. Not lose too many spots.
What a ride he went on there. Hopefully his back is okay after that ride. But Ryan Patty out in front, clicking off the laps, now starting lap number 18. Nathan Finnegan in second. Moving back, it's Vincent Loria and Sean Purcell racing side by side now for that third spot. So Purcell's come forward now 4 positions, and Purcell has pretty much tried to follow him forward, but now Purcell trying to battle with Brendan Jenks, and Jenks able to take that position back. So right now, Jenks in the 4th place as Ronnie Norman and Sean Purcell race side by side there for 5th.
I'll tell you what, the information I got before this race was wrong. They said the outside just wasn't working at all, and all I've seen so far is if you're on the outside of a car, you're gaining that position, because Purcell is stuck on the bottom here. He was in front of Loria, got passed by him, then Jenks, and now Norman to his outside. On him tight there. He's trying to get the pass done here. He's got help from behind with Justin Michael trying to work by Sean Purcell as well. Purcell going to finally slot in there. Justin Michael now going to try passing on the bottom there, a little crossover move.
They stay side by side, and you wonder how long they're going to do it until these tires start to really wear to the point where they can't continue to race side by side like this, but we watch on to find out. Looking like a championship board out there for you, as 7 out of the top 8 positions are championship drivers. The big spoiler being Brendan Jenks kind of in the middle of that. But
yeah, Brendan Jenks missed a couple races and missed the cut there by a little bit, and obviously he's got real life stuff that he does. He works in the ARCA series, so some races he's not able to make here on Sundays, but he would have been in the playoffs if he was able to make some more, so no surprise to see him up there in the top 5.
How about side by side right now for Purcell and Harper? Purcell was up there racing for 3rd, and now he's dropped back. Harper kind of scares Purcell up the track a bit. Purcell now has to rejoin back into this field. Perhaps Purcell using up those tires, but now the first driver that got in and got those tires on lap number 11, Scott Patton, perhaps beginning to flex that brand new tire muscle, and he's starting to come forward.
Yeah, tires are going to be amazing once you put them on, but after about 5 to 6 laps, it almost kind of evens out. So no surprise here that he's just kind of evened off right here behind Harper. Not really too much faster than him, just kind of riding behind him right now. So tires are going to be good for about, those first 10 laps maybe, and then they're not going to be worth it.
Well, this battle is
3 wide here.
Indeed, they were 3 wide for just a moment, but Kyle Purcell ducks back in, and just in front, Jennings and Cody Neal swapping positions. That's back for 10th, 11th, and 12th. 11th, 12th, and 13th place. Purcell really dropping back here. This is now, he's all the way back into 10th after being up there in 3rd place. So interesting to see him dropping off. And then there's this battle that is happening right now. Brendan Jenks retakes 3rd place. Here comes Ronnie Norman trying to follow him forward, and Vincent Loria is now the odd man out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of switched now that the inside's a little bit more of the preferred line. Ronnie Norman going to easily slide by. Nope, he bobbles a little bit. Now here comes Justin Michael, 3 wide down the backstretch.
They go 3 wide down the backstretch, sorting it out. as they go, and Loria almost comes down into Michael. Norman drifts up the track and makes it 3 wide. Loria moves up to perhaps try to block, and here comes Michael on the low side to take that position.
Yeah, I don't know if Vincent didn't know that Michael was down there, but he came down and they made contact pretty heavy. Luckily, that was not a wreck there. But now Justin Michael, you can see, trying to block Scott Patton. Tires working a little better than I thought they would. He's driving through the field here. He's up to 5th. Oh, Vincent Loria into the wall a little bit there on exit.
Loria suffering just a little bit, but now looks like he's going to try to take it around the outside of Patton on entry. But then Patton picks it up, and he's gone off into the distance as Loria had to take a little bit out of it, and now he finds himself back there in 6th place. There comes Jackson Glenn Austin down on that low line. Perhaps going to take that position somewhere around the first corner. He's going to try to hold in it, but Loria using that outside line very effectively tonight. There, Ronnie Norman going to try to not only follow him, he's going to try to take the position as well. He's not afraid to go 3 wide here.
Whew. Harper almost got in contact there with Glenn Austin. They went 3 wide, but a caution is out here at 29, and oh man,
it's Cody Neal.
Like Harper got into the wall there. Oh, and this is a playoff driver with a lot of damage there. You can see the left front not attached. That is not good for playoff drivers.
Well, not going the way that Cody Neal would like here tonight. Let's jump back and see exactly what happened to Cody.
That's already happening here. It looks like Mike Jennings got loose, almost hits Cody Neal, and Cody Neal, to react to it, pulled down, and the car unloaded and snapped back to the right here. Oh, there was contact.
There was a lot of contact between the 3 drivers. And then, unfortunately, Neal making contact with, I think, Kevin Gunther.
Yeah, we'll have to back this up the whole way to turn 3, because that's when this started. They were kind of making contact coming out of the corner. So it looks like Cody Neal, he's going to drive in on the bottom here into turn 1. Maybe he washes up. We'll have to see here.
Well, I mean, to me, it looks like Jennings does come down a little bit.
Yeah, that does look like what happened. Cody Neal, right at the end of the corner, starts coming up because he has to, and Jennings was coming down, which just meeting in the middle, and that's a tough break there for Cody Neal. It looks like maybe he got loose almost. Looking at that angle, it looked like Mike Jennings got a little loose, came down, tapped Cody Neal, and it went on from there.
Chaos continues here at Texas Motor Speedway. This is the first round of the Icon Cup Series playoffs, and already quite a few drivers that have been up in the top 5 previously have been heavily affected. Mike Jennings, Kyle Gilbert, Cody Neal, Jacob Gladelich, Justin Bissonette, one of our championship drivers, finds himself sitting on pit road. So difficult running for quite a few of these drivers, but still lots more to come. As we circulate under the pace truck, we'll be stepping away for a quick break. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network as we get through stage number 1, and we'll be back for the conclusion. End of stage number 1 coming on lap number 45. Stay tuned. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's been an interesting Texas race so far. Ryan Patty choosing to bring it in on lap number 30. As a result, he falls back to 7th. But I tell you what, that's not such a bad call. He sets himself up well for the second stage, and he's only got to work through 6 more cars with fresh tires. That's not a big order here at Texas. It is possible. So we'll see whether or not that's a great strategy call or not. Nathan Finnegan is the one, however, who's going to take us back to the green flag.
We'll have to see how quick Patty can work through the field, but here we go, back under green here at Texas. Lap 34, going on to 35 now.
Brennan Jenks up into that second spot. He's fighting with Justin Michael. Looks like side-by-side action once again here at Texas, as this track has not disappointed. They're 2x2x2. Well back into the field still as we get around through the end of the first lap. After our caution, Justin Michael slowly edging into that second position. Side by side they are. Too tough to call who was ahead at the line. There comes Scott Patton into the middle of things, and Vincent Loria poking his nose into this as well. Jinx moves to the outside. He's going to hold on to 4th place. Here comes Patton to the inside. Jinx gets turned by Loria, and he starts drifting backwards. Multiple cars scrambling to get around Ronnie Norman, one of those who gets into the middle of it, and he manages to emerge. I can't believe we did not have an incident after that, but we all continue on here.
Yeah, it looked like Vincent Loria just missed the corner and drove right into Brendan Jenks, so unbelievable that he was able to save that. Now you see Ryan Patty working underneath Tim Harper, gets him a little loose there, get Arrow loose, and goes right by him. Someone going through the grass on back. Got a caution now.
I believe it's Mike Jennings. Looks like 2 drivers.
And Stephen Tuck as well.
Indeed, and Stephen Tuck. And for those of you out there also wondering,
look at that right front.
See that piece go flying off there. Speaking of some of the drivers that could be here, a lot of you probably wondering where Brock Hersey and Adam Ball are, and they're actually at the real-life Texas Motor Speedway race, so they were not able to make it here tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at this incident. Trying to get to where this one actually started. I actually have a note that Purcell might have gone off track ahead of everything, so let's see if that's related here. This is Kyle Purcell, who's... Oh my goodness. Several drivers getting together there.
Yeah, that was Sean Purcell, and I believe the 72 making contact there. Purcell went to the middle, made it 3 wide on exit, and 3 wide in the quad oval sometimes does not work out. It gets really tight.
Certainly many times 3 wide here at Texas is not advisable unless it's absolutely necessary.
I tell you what, Anthony Campbell doesn't miss that wreck if he doesn't go through the grass. So kind of a blessing in disguise getting loose back there and going through the grass. So good heads-up move by him. But right there, just ever so slightly makes contact with the 72, and it's on from there. Mike Jennings gets the worst of it. That right front toe link is broken. The tire is not attached. That's a rough break. It's going to take probably about 2 minutes to get it repaired on pit road.
Well, unfortunate, and the hits keep coming for these drivers who were just kind of minding their own business and getting swept up into some of these incidents. This one, Delph on the inside. Hard to say, you know, he could have maybe held a little bit further down to the inside, but still.
Yeah, that's tough to ask in the quad oval. It's hard to keep your car turned down onto the white line, but whenever you're 3 wide like that, you got to do everything you can to keep off the guys above you. And part of the reason that happened is Brendan Jenks is still recovering from getting turned by Vincent Loria earlier, so he's still having trouble with his car. And that's what kind of led to that contact there. And it looks like Brendan Jenks gonna just pull it behind the wall and call it a night.
Well, he's certainly had his fill of action, and we're only working on lap number 39. It's been an event-filled race so far, Christian. Hopefully we still have some cars running at the end of this one. Nathan Finnegan and Vincent Loria, your top two drivers at the moment, as Ryan Patty, who led through most of this first stage, finds himself back and forth. Now, as we get going again, keep in mind, lap number 45 is the end of stage number 1, so these drivers are going to be battling it out trying to get that stage win. And Ryan Patty is actually Loria, Norman, and Patty, as well as Cody Neal. They all came in roughly the same lap, 30 and 31.
Yeah, for Finnegan, he's got to be nervous because he's got the most aggressive driver in this series behind him. So he's got to watch out. I mean, Vincent, he's not afraid to move people out of the way and dive bomb corners, so he's got to watch out for that. And if you need someone to back that up, just ask Brendan Jenks. I'm sure he'll agree.
There's quite a few drivers in this field I think would back him up. Yeah, well, it's, people used to it now. You see that green Rolex machine back there, and you might be trying to figure out how to make your car very wide because you may be having a tornado coming through here any moment. But we'll see whether or not that's the case. Loria in second place, Finnegan in first, Norman in third, Patty in fourth, and Cody Neal in that fifth position. Cody up 12 spots here tonight.
Yeah, remember, he was involved in an earlier incident. He had a lot of damage to that left rear, but he's able to be up here in the top 5, so pretty impressive there for the 56.
Definitely impressive. Some of these drivers really recovering from these incidents quite well. Speaking of recovering, Anthony Campbell able to get back out there. He's running in 12th place. Again, able to make it back, but hopefully he can stay up to speed with everyone else. A number of these drivers getting their cars fixed, but a few still not. Stephen Tuck, is he going to get going? Yes, he will get running again. Will he get off pit road and caught up by the time we get green again? That's a good question. Mike Jennings, Brad Delph still sitting on pit road at the moment. So Nathan Finnegan, he took a race win during the regular season. That's how he got into the playoffs. He also was a frequent top finisher. Could he win tonight's Texas Motor Speedway round 1 of the playoffs? It's entirely possible. Green flag is out. We are underway yet again here at Texas Motor Speedway. Finnegan marches into turn 1 uncontested. Vincent Loria in second. Patty moves up into that third spot on the restart. There's Ronnie Norman poking his nose into this fight as well. Jackson Glenn Austin in fourth, but Norman a close fifth.
Here comes Patty for the lead.
Patty not afraid to challenge for that lead spot, and neither is Vincent Loria. There he is following Patty through. He couldn't necessarily get in there on his own on Nathan Finnegan, but as Patty made the move, he says, hey, I'll follow that train on through. And you also see Jackson Glenn Austin trying to do the same, while Ronnie Norman goes to the high side and tries to split it. Here comes Cody Neal on the inside. They get very close coming through the corner. Just one more lap that Patty is going to have to hang on. Contact a little bit further back.
Yeah, Jackson Glenn Austin gets into the back of Loria. Oh, they're still moving around. Norman loose.
Oh, Finnegan
there
loose.
goes Finnegan.
Norman into Finnegan.
I think everyone say that we're still green here.
Finnegan dropping like a rock down on the apron, but
White flag in the stage.
We stay green. One more lap for Patty to conclude the first race stage of the playoffs here, with Jackson Glenn Austin in second and Vincent Loria in third. Cody Neal in fourth, and Ronnie Norman perhaps with a slightly bruised machine back there in fifth. Tim Harper, his teammate at Harper Motorsports, in sixth place. Coming to the line, it's going to be Ryan Patty, who takes the first stage victory.
Man, I tell you what, you said the playoffs bring out the best in people, but it's bringing out the worst in some of these guys. These guys are getting aggressive here tonight.
Well, best, worst, who's to say?
Look at the pace truck. He is hauling the mail.
He is. He's running over cars. He does whatever he wants to do out there. When he needs to go fast, he does. Then he just slams on the brakes. It'd be so much easier if he just waited and then came out of turn 3 or 4 and let everybody catch up to him, but that's the way that goes.
I tell you what, the brakes that are installed in that truck, I want them in my car. My goodness.
Well, we're going to take a momentary break here ourselves. We'll be right back. We'll try to interview somebody before we come back to green. Stay tuned here on the Icon Cup Series Racing Network. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's Jackson Glenn Austin who chooses to stay out, and as a result, he's going to take over the top spot, while others, including Ryan Patty, who won the stage, duck into the pits. But tell you what, it's a great time to chat with somebody. Why not talk to this driver, Tim Harper, who finished in the top 5 there and is right now the top championship leader on the track, and I believe he's now joining us. Tim Harper, great to have you here. How's the car feeling to you out there?
I'm hoping in clean air it'll feel a whole lot different, but behind somebody it's really tight off the corners and entering the corners.
Well, you had a really good run in that first stage. Is it what you wanted? Are you feeling like the car is able to get you where you need to go tonight, possibly up onto the podium or into victory lane?
Possibly. I was on the old tires there until that other caution came out, so now I'm on new tires, or newer. But no, I wish I'd have got some stage points that stage, but we'll see how these tires play out and see if we can get some clean air and pull away.
So that's the strategy here. Get that clean air as opposed to coming in. And you just took tires on lap number 38. So you think you can drive, what's it feeling like, 15, 20 laps on the tires before they start to go?
It all depends on how you start out the run. If you can, hold back and lose a couple positions, you probably last a little longer. But yeah, I'd say around 15 to 20 laps, you'll be able to tell with the lap times falling off and stuff like that.
What about the outside line versus the inside line? Are you noticing any changes? Is the outside line starting to come in more?
I don't think the outside line's going to come in at all. There's a big bump in turn 3 and 4, like through the middle, and once you hit it, it'll carry your back end around, and that's why I'm not going to the top line. So 1 and 2, try to stay on the bottom, but we can go up to a middle groove or something in 1 and 2.
Well, you're going to have to go out there and wrestle it away from some others, but right now you're the top championship contender on track. Good luck with the end of this one, my friend. Hopefully we'll be chatting with you when the checkered flag falls.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So that is Tim Harper with Harper Motorsports chatting with us during this caution period. Always great to be able to chat with some of these drivers out there on the track, and so always great when they decide that they're willing to chat with us and not, I don't know, sometimes even under caution I just want to focus, but I appreciate all these drivers who want to do that. Christian, what did you think of that first stage? What did we learn? What can we do different in the second stage?
Well, contrary to what Tim Harper said there, I think the outside lane is actually pretty good. Maybe not the outside, but the middle lane through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 kind of work a little bit on the restarts. We've seen a lot of people make moves on the outside, so we'll have to see if that continues throughout the race as the sun keeps setting and getting lower. But we're going to have a restart here with about 100 or less than 100 to go, about 90 laps to go. So we'll have to see how this race plays out. Possible green flag pit stops coming up.
Well, the pace truck drives across the front of Jackson Glenn Austin, and we are moments away from a restart here for stage number 2 of round number 1 of the playoffs for Icon Cup Series. And side by side they are behind 3 wide, 4 wide into turn number 1. Ill-advised, but they still pull it off. Sean Purcell, the one to emerge up in front. Justin Michael. Now, that's a lot of swapping of positions to happen in a short period of time, but Tim Harper gets swallowed alive there and sent back out into 5th position. Ryan Patty also up into 4th. Purcell moving up the track and now into 2nd, side by side with Justin Michael.
Yeah, Michael with a really aggressive restart got right underneath Sean Purcell coming into turn 1, trying to still capitalize on that move. Jackson Glenn Austin holding the lead for now, but Justin Michael trying to work by Sean Purcell to take over that top playoff guy spot. Oh, that's real tight there on exit. Almost contact between those two.
Looking out the back of Purcell's machine.
Oh, Patty missed the corner. Really high up.
Patty really sails up the track. And just in front, it's Purcell, Michael, who are battling it out there. And looks like Purcell to the outside now of Glenn Austin. So does that outside line work? Well, you tell me. Here comes Purcell trying to steal the lead on the outside.
Oh, man. Something's got to give here. These guys are really tight together.
You can tell when Christian starts getting nervous in the booth, something serious is happening on track. That is a whole bunch of machines racing together in the same piece of real estate. Tim Harper trying to steal that position down the inside on the backstretch. Glenn Austin back into 2nd. Michael now into the top spot.
Oh man, they get so tight coming out of turn 4. They're basically beating doors the entire corner there, but someone's smoking in pit road, kind of blanketing the front stretch there. But a battle for a second here. Glenn Austin trying to hold the bottom, make it work here underneath Sean Purcell. Patty kind of nowhere to go. He can't make a third line work, so he's just kind of stuck here for now.
They come through turns 3 and 4, past the start-finish stripe.
Oh, man.
It is so tight through that tri-oval. Tell you what, it is... This track through that tri-oval is tight, even with some excellent handling cars. It is really difficult with these machines to make it side by side through that start-finish line. They just have a tendency to want to push up the track, and if you're on the outside of the track, it wants to go in the wall. If you're on the inside of the track, it wants to go in the car that's on your outside, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. It's kind of shocking, these drivers choosing to still stay side by side like they are, but a lot of racing throughout the field. There's Vincent Loria now coming up again.
We saw one time those guys try to make it 3 wide through the quad oval, and it did not work out. It's tough to be 2 wide as we see problems for Harper here.
Harper drifting up the track.
Gonna save it. You think he's gonna blame us for that?
Wait. You know, Christian, we're just doing our job here, interviewing people and covering the race. That's all we do here at VirtualRacing.Network. Oh, my goodness. Justin Michael out there representing his favorite school, West Virginia. Jackson Glenn Austin in second, and very, very close to that rear bumper is Ryan Patty. That is your top three at the moment. Sean Purcell back in fourth, Nathan Finnegan in fifth, Vincent Loria in sixth place, and Scott Patton in seventh. How about Anthony Campbell recovering now up into eighth place? So that car must be working just fine.
Yeah, Cody Neal recovering there. He was in 10th for a moment, but Norman just takes it over, which he also recovering from an incident. Has a little bit of right side damages. Oh, a little bit of contact there. I think that was Anthony Campbell and Patton possibly.
Indeed.
Saw some smoke pop out from behind Campbell. He's going to lose a position here possibly.
Momentary rub between those cars, but Campbell able to continue, and now Kyle Purcell up behind him, trying to challenge for that position. Ronnie Norman and Cody Neal racing it out for 10th place.
Oh, battle for second. I think Ryan Patty just took that from Glenn Austin. Now he's going to try to work on Justin Michael here.
He did indeed. Patty seems to know how to get it done. This was just a moment ago with Ryan Patty making this move on Glenn Austin as they exit the corner there. Ryan Patty has to take evasive action around Glenn Austin as he gets up into the wall, and opportunity sometimes is your ticket to gaining a spot.
That was a pretty significant hit there for the 11. We'll have to see if that affects him and makes him a little bit tighter throughout this run, but good move by Ryan Patty to avoid that one and take the position.
Well, continuing on lap number 62, some of these drivers, for example, Glenn Austin has been out there for over 30 laps on the same set of tires. Ryan Patty came in on lap number 46, so quite a bit, 15 laps of difference for some of these drivers, and pretty soon we're going to start to really notice that becoming a factor. Taking a look a little bit further back, Purcell. He qualified in fifth, now running in fourth place. Racing for Chicagoland Racing, and he's one of these drivers. Everybody starts out the same with the exception of Brian Smith, but Smith didn't make tonight's race as well. So he and a number of drivers are going to be kind of on their back foot as we get into the second round of the playoffs.
Oh, really tight behind them there, Patton and Loria. Patton slid right up in front of Vincent there.
Vincent Loria, part of this championship hunt as well. And you can just see really the cream rising to the top here as top 10 absolutely filled with yellow, meaning those are the drivers that are in this championship hunt. But Justin Michael is out in front, getting it done. Able to carry this lead with no problems out in the clear air. Right now holding down the fort in his Toyota. You see Patty get a little loose there on the exit of turn number 4. Again, Patty with substantially newer tires, but he did have to work through some other drivers to get up there to the front. Michael did a pretty stellar job of jumping up there into the lead and not really looking back. But Michael now up 11 spots on the night and continuing to lead this race with no problems whatsoever. Glenn Austin back here, he's moved up 3 spots, currently running in that 3rd spot. He's not one of the championship drivers, but racing for Peak Performance Motorsport. He came in partway into the season, and he's been pretty lights out. I mean, he's certainly one of the fastest drivers in the field, but he just hasn't been able to be there at the very end of the race very much. So could tonight possibly be his moment to get a podium position and a driver interview? Sounds like it is a strong possibility here tonight. And then there's Nathan Finnegan, who slid back and back and back, and now here he is once again back into 4th place.
Yeah, good recovery for him. I believe he also had some contact with Ronnie Norman in that incident, so he's rebounding pretty nicely. And I believe we're pretty close to possible green flag pit stops here. I think these guys can get about 40 laps on fuel, and some of these guys are on about 33, 34 on their run, so possibly we'll see some cars peeling off to the left into pit road here soon.
Well, certainly
just under 55 to go.
The first driver that's going to be looking, one of the first drivers, is going to be Justin Michael. You can see that graphic on the right-hand side of your screen. He came in on lap number 38. How about Glenn Austin, who came in on lap 31? So you talk about old tires. I mean, those are almost 40-lap old tires on that number 11 car, but he seems to be hanging on okay out there.
Yeah, if we see someone peel off to the left, the first person is going to definitely be the 11 car to try to get new tires on that thing. But he is holding up pretty good for now. The tires have kind of evened off with everyone else, so able to stay up there in the top 5.
That's something interesting to note, because we will have another chance at another long green flag run here. And as the track rubbers up more, it's a pretty good chance these drivers are going to be able to basically do the same thing and perhaps hold their own, as Justin Michael right now only about 2.73 seconds up on Jackson Glenn Austin with those substantially older tires. So we'll see some interesting strategies and some drivers choosing to stay out, whether that works over the long run and with some cautions that might come up. You know, they only had 4 sets of tires to utilize tonight, so that could be another factor, that some of these drivers are just trying to get through this central part of the race and then still have a couple of tire sets left for the end if they need to change.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. The tires were going to be one of the most important things, and having a set in case of a late caution. But these guys have already used 1 or 2 sets, I believe 2, possibly even 3 sets for some of these guys. So this next stop could be the last set of tires for some of these guys.
That's pretty scary to think about. I mean, some of these guys might possibly have to double stint if they've been too aggressive with taking these tires. They may have to try to double stint at least a little bit of a second stint. Just looking at how many laps that they've gone and how many are yet to come. So, as I said, going to be very interesting. I don't have the data as to whether Ryan Patty took tires on his first stop. I believe that he did. But right now, it shows that he's made 2 stops. Scott Patton has made 2 stops. Jackson Glenn Austin has made 2 stops. And I don't know if that 4 tire sets includes the set that they start on. I'm presuming not, so they can probably make a total of 4 stops, 4 tires, but still, that'd only leave you 1 fresh set possibly to use under caution at the very end if there's a caution that comes out. So we'll have to see how everybody decides to play it out. In the meantime, we can get the track map up there where you can see where your favorite driver is running at in the field. Just look for their initials on the right-hand side. looks like Patty has now fallen back 0.7 of a second. And we've got Purcell now falling back as Harper moves forward. So Harper now up into 6th place and Purcell back into 7th.
Yeah, Harper to begin this run, we saw him get sideways and drop the whole way back to 10th. And he's now rebounding quite nicely up to 6th now.
So perhaps that was part of his plan, was maybe to fall back a little bit at the start of this stage, despite staying out there and hanging on into 2nd place. These tires aren't really falling off that much, so he may have said, okay, I've made it to the number that I want to get to, and now we'll go forward.
He definitely planned on having someone hit his left rear and send him
we
to
got
the
Cody
back of the
Neal
field.
into the wall.
Neal. Looked like his car just shot to the right. Hard hit for the 56.
That was a big hit.
He's going to bring it in. That right front toe link may be broken. That was a vicious hit. We'll have to see how long he stays in the box here. This is one of our playoff guys. He was running in the top 10.
There's a replay for us. Going through turns 1 and 2. Wow.
Oh, man.
That car just sent itself up into the wall. I mean, it got loose in a hurry.
Yeah, just one little bobble. He tried to correct it, overcorrects it, and hard hit into the wall.
So Justin Michael continues to lead here, but look at how Nathan Finnegan has moved himself up into this battle. He's about to possibly take over 2nd place from Ryan Patty as we get to this closing stage of this opening of stage number 2.
Yeah, with this season going on, it's been evident that Nathan Finnegan pretty good at tire saving. The best out here, Ronnie Norman, saving tires, but Finnegan has given him a run for his money a couple times at saving those tires really well. And now you can see that benefiting as he's catching Ryan Patty in a hurry. I mean, he's about, I would say, 0.2 of a second a lap faster.
I mean, it is closing very quickly for Nathan Finnegan as we look on board with Patty. And Patty has not actually lost Justin Michael, but Patty drifts up, and here comes Finnegan by on the low side. He's going to make that pass and come up into 2nd.
Tell you what, he made that pass look easy. And I can tell you it is not easy to pass at Texas, but he made it look easy.
Well, Patty kind of drifted up high on exit, and once again, that was the easy thing to do. Now we finally have Glenn Austin pulling it into the pits for the first of the green flag pit stops. Just wondering how long until we see these other drivers. He was substantially earlier on his pit stop. He was 31. These other drivers are lap 38. So Justin Michael, lap 38. Scott Patton, lap number 38. Timothy Harper, 38. Sean Purcell, 38. Then you've got Finnegan, lap 46, and Ryan Patty, lap 46. And Kyle Purcell, lap 46. So split strategies for a number of these drivers in terms of which lap they decided to come in on, but probably only like another 5 laps or so until we see Justin Michael pulling it in.
Yeah, I'm curious if they pit here, if they're going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. Longest we've seen, I think, was about 40 laps on a run. I think you said it was 38.
Well,
Not 45, it looks like, for Patton.
if our graphic is to be believed, looks like you can make about 45, 46 laps. So we'll just have to see how this all works out. There's 51 for Glenn Austin. So 51 being about the max that you could expect.
And we're at 50 to go now, so it's doable.
All right. Well, so anybody who does pit after this is pretty much guaranteed to get in. But will Glenn Austin? Probably not without some yellow help. How about side-by-side right now for Nathan Finnegan and Justin Michael for the lead of this race?
Yeah, Finnegan's still doing an amazing job saving those tires and was able to get around Patty and now working his way around Justin Michael. Michael putting up a good fight, though, on that outside lane. But not to be. There goes Finnegan by for the lead.
Nathan Finnegan for Collar City Racing takes over the lead of the race here on lap number 87 on the backstretch and moves his number 6 Chevy into clean air. This could be, if we stay green, that could have been the move of the race, not only to get it by Ryan Patty, but now to move past Justin Michael with ease and not have to stay behind him. He'll now get a chance to try to open up a gap. He's already got a half a second on Justin Michael. And again, if they all come in and pit, this could be very valuable seconds that he's gaining. Now, that being said, it's interesting that some other drivers have not chosen to bring it down into the pits and do the undercut strategy, but you know, there is a second and a half or so difference between the best lap times and the last lap times, so perhaps they're just trying to wait it out as long as they can to try to get the best possible lap times towards the end of this race. But I still feel like the undercut strategy might have been the way to go, because right now these drivers, again, up into the 31-second bracket, definitely going to be losing time to anybody who has already come in. For example, Jackson Glenn Austin, how about he's running 30.43, so almost a full second a lap faster than the leaders are right now on those fresh tires. That's what you were talking about earlier, Christian.
Yeah, Nathan Finnegan, his best lap this race is a 29.7. And that last lap, as he crosses the line here, was a 31.005. So he is way off of what the fastest pace is on this track. And now we'll see Glenn Austin has tires come up to temperature. He's going to run a better lap here, 30.4 again. So he's about 0.6 faster at the moment.
So now we've got Sean Purcell and Anthony Campbell responding, pulling down into the pits. Campbell running a little bit different of a paint scheme this week.
Oh, here comes Ryan Patty. He's the first of the lead group to come into the pits. So you're going to see Finnegan and Michael, Patton, Harper, all of them are going to react to this.
We'll watch how long it takes them until they decide to respond. But Finnegan right now staying out. He's going to pit. Here we go.
Yep. Gotta be careful. Get down to the pit road speed.
Always a tricky thing to do. Justin Michael in behind. Tim Harper responding immediately. Kyle Purcell, same. So that's going to leave Scott Patton out there on the track. He was one of those drivers who came in on lap 38, so I expect probably this lap he'll do the same. And he does. This is honestly one of the easier tracks to actually get onto pit road. It's fairly wide. You just got to make sure you take note of where you're at on the banking. Don't want to possibly dive down there too soon onto the apron and slow yourself down. You lose too much time. You can't leave it until too long. As you see now, Ronnie Norman taking over the lead. Now he and Vincent Loria were lap 47 and 46.
Here comes Norman. He's going to elect the pit. Vincent Loria going to take over the lead there. You can see Glenn Austin 23 seconds back on him. So Vincent's got to be careful because he might go a lap down here if he stays out more laps.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Last lap for him, a 31.62. So again, there's some percentage, there's reasons to stay out, but at the same time, if you're going to lose that much time on track, Glenn Austin, by the nature of doing the undercut strategy now, he cannot make it until the end, most likely. He would be a couple of laps short without some sort of yellow flag assistance as Loria does finally pull it into the pits. But Glenn Austin does take over the lead by 1.4 seconds on the track. So, and that being said, he's already losing a little bit of time each lap to Nathan Finnegan because Finnegan came in 10 laps later to get those tires. Nevertheless, this is the undercut strategy. It's worked, and Jackson Glenn Austin, your new leader by over a second.
Yeah, and that second is closing very quickly. You can already see Finnegan in the background there. It's just under a second now as he goes through 3 and 4.
Down to 9/10 of a second. So very quickly eroding. A 30.10 to a 30.49.
Looks like Ronnie Norman Fan Club has joined us mid-broadcast here in the chat, saying let's go 18. 18's having a rough night so far. A lot of damage to that car, but doing a good job being able to stay in the top 10 and get some points here tonight.
Certainly, and the night's not over yet, as we know. Still lots more to go here from the Texas Motor Speedway. We're just coming up on the 100 lap mark here in just another 2 laps. As we watch on, Finnegan closing in just a half a second away now from Jackson Glenn Austin up in front. And he gets so close out to that wall. It's
barely brushed it there.
I don't think there was a paper's width between his car and that wall.
He's getting every inch he can trying to catch Glenn Austin here. He shouldn't push it too hard because he's got Ryan Patty behind him, and if Patty starts saving his tires, maybe he can be a threat here to Finnegan late in this run. But Finnegan showed that he was better in the long run in the last run, so possibly it's going to come down to Finnegan and Patty if this thing stays green.
Well, he's going to have to get by Glenn Austin, and certainly if Glenn Austin can make him stumble for a few laps, that might let Patty kind of try to attack him, so we'll see what happens here. But the closing rate, very quick for Finnegan. He's going to take it down to the low line and spend no time arguing with Glenn Austin. No time spent following, immediately trying to go forward. And he'll lead at the line. Nathan Finnegan back in the lead. Ryan Patty there to try to do exactly the same thing as Finnegan begins his internet connectivity issues. Glenn Austin dropping back into third. He knows that he's been beaten at this game for the moment, so he's going to drop back a little bit. Ryan Patty, though, following Nathan Finnegan very closely. He may decide to try to take that move. He looks to the inside of Finnegan down the start-finish straight, and I think he might decide to punch it in there if he has enough room to do so. Question from the YouTube chat room from Michael Milfelt. What happened to Justin Michael? And Christian, you've responded.
Have indeed. Yeah, some pit strategy going off sequence for Justin Michael, just kind of having a rough pit stop, but he's in fourth, so he should be able to get a top 3 here with Glenn Austin having to come into the pits here before the end of the race. So just a little slow through the pit stops, that's all. Nothing major happened to Justin Michael, just a little slow on the pits.
Well, and Michael, in fact, he lost like 4 seconds on pit lane in the pit box. But Michael just made that pass on Patton, and now, as you said, up into fourth. So Michael having a really good night, up 8 positions, and Patton honestly having a good night for Bandit, up 13 spots into fifth place out there. So good for him. Nevertheless, the focus is still on this battle at the front. Nathan Finnegan and Ryan Patty have once again emerged as the two top contenders here with just about 30 laps remaining. As we go by the start-finish stripe, cars going underneath Barney the Flagman. And this is the time, I mean, this is where the money is made right here, Christian. You got to keep it clean. You got to put in those consistently fast laps. You got to do everything you can to try to be better than everyone else out there. This is go time right now. If you've got anything left in the tank, this is the time when you spend it.
Yeah, if you can hop on board with Ryan Patty, he's doing something that no one else has been doing all night. He was using the outside. He's got a car up there for this corner, but he's been using the outside in 1 and 2 and getting a huge run down the backstretch. So let's see if he does it next time around. You can see he'll probably go to the bottom here through 3 and 4. But he's been going up to that top the last couple of laps, and it's been kind of working out for him. Let's see if he does it again here. Here he goes into 1 and 2. All right, so he's going to go back to the bottom. Maybe it didn't work out quite as well as I thought, but it looked like he was making the top work pretty well.
Well, sometimes you mix it up a little bit, I guess, depending on what the tires are doing and whether they're starting to get hot. Maybe bring it down to the low side, bring it back up to the high side, try some different things out, see whether, one lap it may feel better up at the top and another lap might make more sense to bring it down lower. And you got to keep reevaluating too, right? Every 15 laps or so, as he starts to get a little loose coming through the corner there.
Yeah, you can see not much wheel input for these cars. Very sensitive steering. Typically you see a lot of cars doing 90-degree on the wheel to the left, but these cars, you just barely move it to the left and you're turning through the corner. Got issues here for Kyle Gilbert. We'll take a replay, see what happened here. Coming out of turn 4, just gets loose, goes through the grass. Oh, look at that bump, man. That bump sent his internet into fits there.
Back out onto the track. Unfortunately, he's going to go down a lap because of it. And Patty able to get by, as is Finnegan. So Finnegan able to stay in the lead here. With 25 laps remaining now, these laps are clicking down very, very quickly. This is 10th and 11th place right here. Vincent Loria, 9th and 10th place with Ronnie Norman and Vincent Loria. About 0.7 of a second separating these two. Loria was running up front, and so was Ronnie Norman, but that machine has seen better days. It maybe looks okay from this far back, but up close, I think it's missing a couple of bolts. Got a couple small dents in it, and it's not running as well as you might think. Here comes Justin indeed. We look over into the YouTube chat room. Michael Milfelt says, here comes Justin. Well, you're absolutely right. He is up into third. And he's slowly starting to take some of that time out of Ryan Patty, but still 2.9 seconds remain. That gap up to Ryan Patty, but he has in fact moved himself into podium position.
Yeah, and it was about 5.1 seconds a couple laps ago, and now down to 3.8, so definitely catching up. But problems here for Anthony Campbell. Let's see what happens. Gets loose mid-corner, and then once you get loose once, it kind of goes from there and through the grass again for Campbell.
Great save,
able to save it. Yeah.
And back to the live picture once again. Still 12 cars left on the lead lap. Kyle Gilbert, your last car on the lead lap at the moment. Nathan Finnegan up in front with Ryan Patty for the Detach House of Speed there in second place. And this has now grown to be a 1.28 second make that 3.5 second. It's growing very quickly. Very, very quickly. And then you look just a little bit further back, 2.6 seconds back, and that's Justin Michael. So can Michael pull this car into contention by the end of this one? He's about, let's see, this time by 30.81, so exactly the same as Ryan Patty. Nathan Finnegan that time at 30.63, but the lap before, Justin Michael had been about 0.2 of a lap faster. So Michael, now that he has some clear air, going to try to perhaps take a little bit more time off as we get to 21 laps to go, just coming up on 20 to go here across the stripe.
I tell you what, Glenn Austin, he has fallen through this field. He's the whole way back to 5th, now 9 seconds back from the leader, and he's just trying to make it to the end, but I believe he's going to have to pit before the end of this one. The longest we've seen on a run was 51 laps, and he would have to go about 55 on his run in order to make it to the end.
Well, Glenn Austin back in 5th, and he is approximately 0.6 of a second slower than everyone else. He got super loose there off of turn 4, almost lost it, and he's about to lose another position to Tim Harper here. And Christian, Scott Patton has gotten himself back into this battle with Justin Michael as well. So it's not just Michael trying to close down this gap up to Patty. Here comes Patton to try to challenge for that 3rd spot. There he goes on the low end.
And maybe saved up a little bit of tire there, and he's going to work back by Justin Michael. These guys battling for a podium spot here in an interview with one of us. Which I don't know which is more important, you know?
I'm pretty sure they don't want to talk to us. But at least after the race, we don't have a chance of cursing them for the race. So, you know, there's that. But Nathan Finnegan, he's doing just fine up there in the top spot. 2.6 seconds, that gap back here to Ryan Patty now. Patty just kind of trying to hang on consistently, about 0.2 of a second slower. And Scott Patton, perhaps he might have what it takes to get up there and catch Ryan Patty. If Patty keeps having this slow of laps, it's going to be touch and go, but at 0.2 of a second a lap, he might have enough time. 30.88 to 31.08.
It's just a question on how much did Scott Patton save, and compared to Patty, whose tires are going to be better here, and if he can catch them by the time we run out of laps here, 16 to go, and he's about 1.3 seconds back, so it's doable. 2.3 seconds, sorry.
Yep, 2.3, and it does continue to fall. Patton has a lot of clear air out in front. 15 laps remaining here. I'm wondering if we can actually stay green until the end. This seems to be about the time when fatigue and these cars start handling like true junk out there. They seem to really kind of come together, but we'll see whether or not we can stay green. That would be phenomenal. We'll get a chance to see whether or not Patty can hold his own and stay out there in second place, or is Patton going to be able to catch him? And then we've got Glenn Austin and Tim Harper fighting it out for 5th place here.
And something important to note, if Finnegan is able to secure this win, he's automatically on to the next round, the second of 3 rounds, so that would be huge for any of these playoff guys to win this race.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, I mean, it almost goes without saying, but if you do manage to do that, I mean, what a relief. You know, you can go the next couple of rounds and not have to worry, not have to be trying to point your way into the next round of the playoffs, which could
Especially
be a crapshoot.
with Talladega next.
Yeah, exactly. It would be great to be able to go to Talladega and just kind of kick your heels up and say, "I'll just ride around in the back."
Yeah, I think one of the most stressful things in playoffs is going into a plate race in a point position where you have to point your way in, because there's so many strategies going into those type of race. Do I try to lead the race? Do I try to stay in the back? Like, what do I do to stay safe? And I tell you what, every time I've tried it, nothing ever works.
Huh. Yeah, and there's, plate races are a true crapshoot. There's really no escaping a big incident if it's going to envelop you. There's just basically no way to get out of it, or it's just luck as to whether you make it through. So you won't want to miss that here. Coming up next week on VirtualRacing.Network. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, as we've got many more great playoff races to come here and lots more great action. This has been a fun one here tonight. A lot of green flag racing in the back half of this race. And Scott Patton playing spoiler here in the podium spots as he has taken over that third spot from Justin Michael, even though he's not a championship contender. Christian, we have to alert the audience too. Patton did win here in the Icon Cup Series, and he could have, dare I say, he should have been in the playoffs, but he missed the final start that he would have needed to make to be in the playoffs. He missed it by just, a minute or a couple of minutes, being able to make it to that race. And as a result, by not starting enough races, he was not able to be considered for the playoffs. But this just tells you how strong of a runner he is to be up here into third and able to compete with the likes of Patty and Finnegan and take over that spot from Justin Michael. These two still going at it here for fifth place. Side by side they run.
I was going to say, another one of those guys that barely missed out, Brendan Jenks. I believe he had 7 of the 8 required starts as well. So a lot of these guys, they're capable of being playoff drivers, just missed a couple races from making it in. But these two, side by side here, 7 to go. Harper trying to make the outside lane work. Glenn Austin on very old tires. Oh, Harper into the wall a little bit there.
Well, and Christian,
real tight.
This is for some points. It's not a lot difference between 5th and 6th, but I mean, it's enough that, this is the playoffs. You only get 3 races in this round. Those 3 points may mean everything between moving on and not moving on to the next round of the playoffs. So Jackson Glenn Austin, he's just out there to have a great race. And of course, he's certainly good enough to make it into the playoffs, but he did start a little bit later as Harper gets into the side. He comes down after touching the wall into Glenn Austin. And they do make a bit of contact there, but they continue to race side by side on. This is some exciting stuff with just about 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Harper's got to be careful because he's in a top 6 position. But if he gets into it again with Glenn Austin, he could end up finishing outside the top 10. So he's got to be real careful these next 5 laps to not get into an incident here. Still working that outside pretty well here as we're on board with him. Glenn Austin, you can see him going by there, going to pass Harper. I think if I was Harper right now, I would say, you know what, it's not worth it. The 1 extra point isn't worth it to wreck my car trying for it. So I'm just going to settle in, and that's what he's going to do here. He's going to let off the gas there and just kind of ride here.
Yeah, and he's got a 5.3 second gap back to Ronnie Norman, his teammate. I mean, I don't think there's really much of a point in going up there and challenging that much, but it does depend. I mean, you never know when that 1 point is going to matter, but discretion probably the better part of valor. Rather end up just losing that 1 point than losing a bunch more points, which is the real risk factor out here this late in the stage. 3 laps to go for Nathan Finnegan, Collar City Racing. But wait a minute, there's been a change as Glenn Austin needed to pit stop anyway. because he wasn't going to make it to the end. So Harper, after all of that racing, ends up back up in 5th place anyway.
Yeah, Glenn Austin didn't have enough fuel to make it. We were questioning if he did or not, and sure enough, he doesn't have enough. We'll have to pull it in, and that's unfortunate. Probably going to put him down at least 1 lap there and outside the top 10 now.
Well, this has been an amazing race for Nathan Finnegan. He started on pole position. I think it was kind of a shock to a lot of people to see Finnegan on pole, but you say, what can this guy do? He's won a race before, but so many fast people in this field. Will he be able to make the passes and win? Patty out there taking the first stage, and then Finnegan now on the white flag lap. He's managed to not only come forward, but he had a lot for this second stage. He is proven to be the master here at Texas as he pulls through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Down that front stretch he comes. The checkered flag is out, and that's it. Nathan Finnegan taking your victory here in round number 1 of the playoffs for the Icon Cup Series. Ryan Patty, 2nd place. Scott Patton will take 3rd. And what a great drive from all 3 of these drivers to end up in podium spots. We're going to take a moment here to catch our breath. We're going to get the final results up on the screen. We will be back here to chat with our top finishers. You don't want to go anywhere. Stay tuned on VirtualRacing.Network. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. There's the final results on your screen. An amazing, hard-fought race for the driver from Rhode Island for Collar City Racing. He brings it home in the top spot after a lot of green flag racing. Nathan Finnegan, absolutely the class of the field here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Second best to Ryan Patty. And normally that'd be okay, but this is the playoffs, and certainly you're looking for every race win you can get. Finnegan guaranteed to move on to the second round, and Patty still going to have to get in on points. And with Talladega coming up, it is anyone's guess as to how that's going to play out. Scott Patton for Bandit Motorsports taking 3rd here tonight. A great run from him. He took the final position for this podium from Justin Michael there in the very end of this stage. So Timothy Harper ending up in 5th place. Justin Michael, as I mentioned, in 4th. 6th going to Ronnie Norman. 7th, Kyle Purcell. 8th to his brother Sean Purcell. 9th, Vincent Loria. 10th, Anthony Campbell. 11th, Kyle Gilbert. 12th, Jackson Glenn Austin. 13th to Stephen Tuck. And 14th to Hanover Fist. 15th, Jacob Gladelich. 16th, Cody Neal. 17th, Brad Delp. 18th to Mike Jenkins. And what a terrible, or Mike Jennings, excuse me. What a terrible night for him, as he was having a decent night but got caught up in multiple incidents, slipping back through the fields. Brendan Jenks, same thing, running up front and then catching multiple bad breaks, sent him down to pit lane, and he never returned. Kevin Gunther in 20th, Dalton Williamson in 21st, and Justin Bissonette, one of the championship contenders, taken out early in incidents, finishes in 22nd place. And with that, you get a chance to talk with our top 3 finishers. First up will be none other than Scott Patton, and he joins us now in the Icon Cup Series Victory Circle podium discussion. And Scott, congratulations on driving your way forward and managing to snag a podium position.
Appreciate that, Trevor. Wish it was Victory Circle, but yeah, we'll take the podium, start from the back, and race with these guys. Nathan obviously kicked everybody's butt today, so hats off to him out there.
Well, what a drive forward. Take us through your race, how it played out for you, but in particular there, as you had a chance to get around Justin Michael, was it just that you were feeling the tires there at the end? Did Michael make a mistake? How did that all play out for you?
Yeah, it came off pit road, the last pit cycle. I think he overshot his pit stall or something. I knew something was off when I came out of the pits in front of him. But he does overall a better job at saving tires than I can do in these cars. So he was able to get by me, so we just kind of let him by, figuring I'd kind of cruise and he'd maybe pull me to the front. Maybe if Ryan and Nathan got to racing for the lead or something, maybe we'd have a shot. But and then yeah, the tires just kind of took effect and kind of saved a little bit by staying behind him, and then we were able to take that position back, and then he kind of went backwards from there. But yeah, it's good to run. 8 seconds, I guess, isn't too bad with 9 cars on lead lap, but yeah, it was fun to the end there.
Well, a lot of green flag racing. Was that what you were expecting in the second half of this race, considering the amount of yellows that we had in the first part?
I kind of told myself, I was telling Justin too, our teammate, that I had a good feeling that this was going to go green once it strung out, once I got the early incidents out of the way. Texas, I think, with the tire wear and whatnot, and only having 1 green flag pit stop, so you don't have a lot of guys out there on fresh tires versus old tires. It's kind of, the pit window was more or less predetermined within a 5 or 6 lap interval, so didn't have a long time with guys on running 2 or 3 seconds faster than other guys, which sometimes get yellows when that happens when guys split things up on the pit road. But yeah, pretty straightforward strategy after that, except for the stage. Was it the stage? I think we came in on the yellow just before the stage, Justin and I, and then we kind of drifted backwards. Used a little strategy there to get back to the front at the stage when we stayed out, so that kind of worked to our favor, and then kind of try to get him on the long run there. But Nate, I don't know what he had up there, but he had something going on.
He certainly did. Some nights he just seems to have that extra horseshoe stuck somewhere, but he managed to get that top spot and never look back. Patty unable to match that kind of speed. Lots of challengers, but Nate seemed to have the blinding speed here tonight. Nevertheless, hey, you're not in this championship run due to some unfortunate circumstances that kept you out, but you're still playing spoiler and able to break up those championship contenders by taking a podium spot. Who do you want to thank for tonight's race?
Yeah, certainly. We're just out here to collect checkered flags from here on out, so our intent is to get at least a couple here before the end of the season. But certainly on the hood of the car, on the Chevy ZL1, the New England Racing Museum, Dr. Dick Bergeron's project up here in the Northeast, right on the property of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So we just had a big event last week with Bentley Warren and Doug Hevron. A couple of Kent Schrader came up for that. Really good time, so appreciate them. And then Stone River Outfitters for all your fly tying needs, and check them out at stoneriveroutfitters.com. And if there's any fly tying fishermen out there. And I guess that's about it. Certainly you guys for putting on the broadcast and having teammates like Justin to kind of talk us through the race and strategize and bounce ideas off of. And yeah, that's about all I got. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for putting on a great show out there. Enjoyed watching you, and of course we'll enjoy looking forward to seeing you out there for the remainder of this season, and best of luck to you in getting one of those checkered flags.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Trevor. You guys do an awesome job. Catch you later.
Yourself as well. Thank you, Scott. So that is Scott Patton, 41-year-old out of Merrimack, New Hampshire, for Bandit Motorsports. He takes third, and Christian, I believe you caught up with Ryan Patty, who took second place out there tonight.
Yeah, I caught up with Ryan Patty down here in pit lane, getting out of the car and taking a breath. I'm sure that last run was a very long one. You finished second. I'm sure you wanted the win, but Nathan Finnegan just had something that apparently you didn't have tonight. So what could you have done different? Was there anything? And tell us about your race here tonight.
Ooh, Christian, that was a race. That was a long one. Had short runs, long runs, avoiding calamity. Yeah, a little bit of fuel mileage. That was fun. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. I wanted to get that win. Would have loved to be locked in early. Yeah, I felt like me and Finnegan kind of been neck and neck all week running official races. Yeah, I think I probably ran 4 or 5 races with him this week at Texas. He was doing the same thing I was, trying to get our practice in and lock ourselves in early. But yeah, I think what it ultimately came down to was after the stage break, I was in a good position with good tires. Everyone in front of me had, I don't know, 5 or 10 laps in their tires. And if I was patient enough, I could let them fight it out and burn them up. But I trying to fight with them, and I got stuck in a hornet's nest there, too wide for too many laps, and I think that it just wore out my tires. And then by the time Nathan caught up, he was nice and patient, took care of his equipment, and he was able to just pass me, pass Justin, and pull away. And then by the time we had our green flag stop, he had such a gap, though. It took everything I had just to try to get to him. And my thought was, maybe if I push and I could get side by side with him, I could force him to burn him up, maybe get him behind me and give him some aero wake to deal with. But just didn't have enough to get there and get by him, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, throughout the race, I saw you working the outside lane a lot more than others were. Was the outside just working for you throughout the night, or do you think the inside was the better lane? Because a lot of drivers said going into it, they were like, the outside not going to work. But the one corner, I saw you almost up near the wall and had an amazing run. So was the outside the way to go?
It's situational, right? I mean, on first couple of laps, no, your tires are too cold. You're not going to be able to make it stick. And late in the run, unless you're battling someone side by side, you're not really going to gain a ton of time. There was a sweet spot in there between probably 5 and 15 laps where you could probably make some ground up. If again, if you've got 5, 6, 7 cars all piled up there side by side, you can probably get a good run on the outside in 1 and 2, and then get a run down the back stretch and get by them into 3. It's I mean, again, it's tough. It doesn't always work. I like searching around, just like the drivers do in the real life Cup Series. They're trying to find grip at different areas, different spots in the racetrack. So I have no problem going to try it out and see if there's anything there. But unfortunately, I saw didn't make any ground up on Nathan. And then I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw the 46 coming fast. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to run the bottom here, try to hang on to what I got, and hope for a caution, which just never came.
Ultimately, running the bottom was the right decision there. Toward the end, you were able to capitalize with second place, and that's going to be good going into Talladega next week. So you're in a good points position. I mean, you won the stage, got those bonus points, then you finished second here. So how comfortable do you feel going into Talladega? We know it's kind of hit or miss on good finishes there.
Christian, did you just say comfortable and Talladega in the same sentence? Because I don't think that's a thing, man. Honestly, in all seriousness, it's just such a crapshoot. You talk to anyone that's ever run Talladega in any car, they'll say the same thing. They don't know if it's safer to be at the front, the middle, or the back. So at this point, the way that stages are set up, 8 points to win a stage is pretty big. You saw it tonight. I definitely took home the most points tonight, even though I didn't get the win. Nathan's locked in. So that'll be my goal next week. Try to win the stage, try to lead some laps. Good God, I don't think I can get a 0x and get a clean race out of it. But, if things work out, maybe a good finish. If things don't, then we'll see what happens at Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte, the oval, kind of similar to this track, so possibly another good run for you there. But anyone you want to give a shout out to before we send you on your way here the rest of the night?
Yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to Nathan. He ran a fantastic race. I can't take anything away from him. He was practicing all week, same as me. We both put our time in, and he just he played his cards right. Led the most laps, took the win home. So he did a really fantastic job there. Love all the guys in the detached House of Speed. Also, Hanover Fist and Kyle Vincent Gilbert been in there hanging out with us too lately. So love hanging out with them every week. And you guys up in the broadcast booth, we love what you do, and put a face to our brand here at Icon. And one last one before I go. My wife just flew out to Chicago, visiting some family, but if she's tuning in at all, I love you, I miss you, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, well, again, man, congrats on the podium, and congrats on maximizing your points here tonight, and good luck the rest of the round of I believe 12. So good luck at Talladega and Charlotte coming up.
Sounds good. Thanks, buddy.
All right, Trevor, I believe you caught up to Victory Lane, ran over there and got Nathan Finnegan for his winning interview.
Absolutely. He wasn't easy to track down, slapping high fives with the rest of his team and all of these folks here in pit lane. But Nathan Finnegan manages to take the first round of the playoffs for the Icon Cup Series at Texas Motor Speedway. And Nathan, congratulations. You've locked yourself into the next round already. How does it feel? And, do you have the confetti out of your hair yet? I mean, there's a lot of things going on here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of prep this week. We feel, really good getting this number 6 Chevy Camaro in Victory Lane. Really like Texas, feels strong track, and we were actually unfortunately to miss Charlotte in this round, so we had to call our shot and win one of these next 2 races if we were going to keep our playoff hopes alive. And feels really good to have been able to do it tonight here. And yeah, I mean, we've had the momentum going the past couple weeks. We keep slowly but surely getting better and better finishes. Couldn't quite get it done last week at Bristol, and to get it done tonight feels incredible. So.
Well, and certainly you wouldn't be able to necessarily count on taking the victory at Talladega, because who has any idea what's going to happen at Dega. But hey, an amazing run tonight. You weren't able to take the stage victory for the first part of this race. Now, did something change for you going between the first stage and the back half of the race? Did you just feel like the car was better suited in your hands for the green flag runs? What was your feel for why you were so much stronger in the second half?
Yeah, I think a lot of our setups, honestly, the past couple of weeks, we've been really strong in the long runs and, quick on short runs, but just not as dominant as some of these other guys. We tried to do what we could. I think if that stage went green, I think we had a decent shot maybe at getting to Ryan there by the end of it. But yeah, we gambled on tires, wanted to save an extra set for the event that, we did get a number of cautions and maybe have one in the bag with 10-15 to go and be able to use those compared to everybody else. But yeah, we ended up getting a little bit mired back in track position, but using up some of our stuff to get back in the field, and then just being patient and playing the long game, hoping that it stayed green. And thankfully for us, it did.
Well, it was an interesting strategy call for a number of different drivers coming in, perhaps a little bit early, and deciding to take on tires and perhaps doing the undercut strategy. You and Ryan stayed out there long enough that it wasn't going to be a question mark on fuel strategy. What did you feel like tonight, though, track-wise? We heard Ryan talking about he tried to move the car around and find someplace better to move the car to. He would start to make a little bit of progress on the high line, and then he'd figure out that he'd go to the low line. Was there a particular spot on the racetrack that seemed to work for most of the night, or were you doing the same thing and kind of feeling out up and down the track and trying to see what made the most sense?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to last week with Bristol. I mean, we were able to really get it hooked up on the bottom, and we were really able to save the right front and use the right rear to get drive off later on in that run. And being able to hook the apron, tremendously helped us in the longer runs. And I mean, kind of arcing the corner, you could kind of get that middle groove going in 1 and 2 a little bit, and then arcing down late apex at a 2, and then 3 and 4, it's kind of, you got to run the bottom there. But yeah, we felt really strong down there. Didn't really try to go up too much because we were making good time at the bottom. So,
well, it was a spectacular win for yourself. You managed to stay out there in clear air and then walk away from Ryan Patty. Just a beautiful win from you. And again, it's got to feel so amazing to have that first race of the playoffs, and you take the win. You're locked into the next round. You get to kind of kick your heels up a little bit for Talladega and not be stressed trying to take that win. Who do you want to thank for your run to victory tonight?
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to my parents who tune in every week. Appreciate them. My fiance as well. The CCR guys, ECR guys. Shout out to Brock and Adam. They were at the race today. Why they missed with us to this evening, but and going into Dega now, get to kind of help out some of the guys who are in a playoff situation, and maybe do some team orders if we can help somebody grab a win there and lock them into the next round. So,
well, that'll be a lot of fun to see next week, and certainly wish you all the best. And we'll certainly be seeing you in the next round, but we'll see you next time out at Talladega as well. So, congratulations, Nathan, and you get to kind of breathe a nice sigh of relief and try to help out the rest of those team members going forward next week. We'll see you then, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
That is Nathan Finnegan, who for Collar City Racing ends up taking the first race of the playoffs here for the Icon Cup Series in its inaugural 2023 season. And Christian, this was an interesting race that saw like two different looks. There was the first part of this race where you had some yellows and some choppy racing, a lot of very close, tight racing. And then things started to, as soon as we got into the second half of this race, the second stage or so, everything kind of just started to mellow out a little bit and things started to settle down. And finally we got to see some great long green flag runs. What do you think going forward? Does any of this matter next week at Talladega?
None of it. Throw everything out the window. The only thing that matters is that Nathan Finnegan can be comfortable going into Talladega. I think he's the only one, as Ryan alluded to in our interview there. No one else is going to be comfortable except for Nathan at Talladega. It's a monster. It's going to be interesting to see who's able to come out on top. It could be anybody in this league coming out here and winning this next week. But we got one more race this week at Texas on Tuesday. Can't wait for that one in the playoffs for Nora. See who's able to advance over there.
Absolutely. Here on VirtualRacing.Network, you won't want to miss it. The Nora Cup Series continues the playoffs, and it's getting down to crunch time for all those drivers. So right here on VirtualRacing.Network, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you don't mind, hit the like button as well. It'll get out there into the greater YouTubosphere, and who doesn't want their friends and all of the other iRacers out there to find out about the Icon Cup Series and how great it is. Nathan Finnegan taking the victory here in the first round of the playoffs. Ryan Patty in second and Scott Patton in third. Behalf of myself, Trevor Greenfield, and Christian Snyder, and all of the competitors and admin here in the Icon Cup Series, love to thank you all for joining us live on YouTube. If you haven't already been joining us live and you're seeing these races in replay, you want to make sure to get here live and chat with us during the race. Until Tuesday night, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and Monday night, we'll see you then here on VirtualRacing.Network. Bye-bye, everybody.